Hey everybody, it's Norm from Tested, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Lenovo VR180 camera made in partnership with Google Daydream. Lenovo sent us this camera to review, and I've been using it for the past couple of weeks, both with the Lenovo Mirage Solo standalone VR headset and also with other VR headsets like the Oculus Go. So we've tested a bunch of 360 cameras in the past, and I'm not convinced that 360 video is the way to go in the future, but this is something different. This is a camera that focuses on 180-degree video, so your video isn't stretched all the way around, it's just 180 degrees, and it has two lenses and sensors built in. Essentially, it's a lot like if you took two cameras and made your own custom stereoscopic rig, which a lot of people have done with GoPros or even mirrorless cameras, but you have it in what's essentially the package the size of a deck of cards. There are two 180-degree lenses on here, and with an aperture of f2.1, and it's a very simplistic device. There's microphones here, two microphones for spatial audio, two buttons on top, one is a shutter, one's to change your settings between photos, videos, and even live streaming direct to YouTube, and on the back, no viewfinder. There is a port for moving your videos off of this with a USB-C, and also, thankfully, a micro SD storage, which lets you add up to 256 gigs of storage on top of the built-in 16 gigs of storage on the inside. One thing I also like is that the battery here is removable, and surprisingly, they included two batteries so you can swap them out or leave the camera plugged in as you're recording. The recording experience is made to be dead simple. You literally just press the power, it boots up, and you change the setting you want, and then hit record. Like I said, there's no viewfinder, so you can't frame up what you're viewing, but you can pair the camera with a smartphone app to give you that viewfinder experience, although it's a little bit laggy and then sometimes disconnects. The camera is also small enough that I can throw it in my bag and I can carry it around and hold it up while filming, although I'd recommend attaching it to a tripod or something like a GorillaPod. And it is small enough that you can even mount it to like the front of your car dash so you can film the interior of your car as you're driving down the street for long road trips and those fun conversations. Image quality wise, I was pretty impressed by what I got out of this camera. For photos, what you get is essentially 3K by 3K per eye, and it's stored in a VR180 format where if you load it on your desktop, all you see is the image from one eye, and then the other eye is actually stored in the metadata, and there are some third-party applications you can do to extract that photo. Videos can record up to 4K, though curiously, default is QHD. You have to use the app to bump it up to 4K, but at 4K resolution, I was really impressed by the video quality from this camera. The lenses are ultra-wide angle, they're fisheye essentially, so most of that detail is going to be right in the center of the frame. Toward the edges of the frame, you do get some image degradation and some chromatic aberration, and of course low light video is pretty grainy, but if you have good studio lighting or if you're filming outside, the image quality here I thought was much better than I find on some GoPro setups, especially with a dynamic range. I was able to mount this on the inside of a car, filming myself and the passenger, and not only were both our faces clear, but also outside of the car, whereas in some cameras that would have been blown out because of bad dynamic range. But the best video quality is always going to be the raw file you pull out of this camera, whether with a USB-C cable or the micro SD card. If you drag it into YouTube, YouTube does process the metadata and make it a stereoscopic 180-degree video, but YouTube compression is pretty bad with the video files out of this camera, and streaming is even worse. I would recommend taking this micro SD card, plugging it directly into your Mirage Solo, or for me, just plugging it into a computer and drag it onto an Oculus Go. You can also wirelessly transfer the videos, which takes a little bit of a long time, onto your phone, and then just plop your phone into a Google Cardboard and check out the videos there. In terms of filming 180 stereoscopic content, we learned a lot by using this camera over the past couple weeks. good practices and things we want to avoid. There is a gyro inside this camera, so if you want to hold the camera and just pan around and you put the video in like a Mirage Solo, the gyro will stabilize the video a little bit, but you have to move your head along with the camera movements or else you'll see some of the vignetting and the graying out because it's only 180 degrees. The best experience we had was putting the camera on something like a tripod and then filming subjects about 2 to 3 feet away. Anything closer than about 2 feet, and then you start to have to get cross-eyed to focus on a subject, and then further than about 3 feet away, you lose a lot of the benefits of the stereoscopic 3D. What makes this great for is then filming things about tabletop height, putting this at eye level across a table from someone, and then filming them podcasting or doing a model kit build. All of that kind of content looked fantastic with this camera and was a lot of fun to shoot. One thing I do think the camera could benefit from is some type of leveler, like a bubble level on the top. We had some reports from some people using this camera and watching the video we filmed with it and getting a little discomforted because it wasn't perfectly level and they had the images just off axis a little bit, so you have to watch out for that. And with some of those long videos that we filmed with this, things upwards of 45 minutes to an hour, we found some audio desyncing in the file, so we recorded the audio separately and then merged them together in post-production. That's something you have to look out for. So who is this camera for? Well, it's not as capable as a dual camera rig that you might build yourself. You can't adjust the distance between the lenses, which is something I wish you could do because that lets you mess with the scale of the world and make it look like you're filming from a very small subject or making it look like you're much bigger than the world. And you have no built-in viewfinder. Everything has to be paired with the app via Wi-Fi, and I found that not to be reliable over long periods of time. And the YouTube pairing is just not great right now. The compression makes the 4K video look really pixelated and the streaming really isn't there. But I think it's really useful for people who want to experiment in filming video for VR in 180 degree or in stereoscopic 3D. When we talk about this generation of standalone VR headsets and how great they are for media consumption, this is a device that lets you make that media that's really optimized for these headsets. And at $300, it's cheaper than buying 2 cameras and smashing them together and automates so much of that post-processing so you can really be filming and then watching that video very soon afterward. I'm really enjoying using the VR180, and thanks to Lenovo for sending it over to us to review, and hopefully we will be filming more in the studio and in Adam's cave with this in the future. Stay tuned for those. Like this video, subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next time. Bye.